IVM.
Welcome to the second season of This Round is on Me. So last December, when the media would reach out to me to ask me what food trends I was expecting to take off in 2022, there was only one thing that came to mind: plant-based meats. 2021 saw a slew of plant-based meat brands launch in India. Even one of the most well-known celebrity-backed brands from the US, Beyond Meats, which has tied up with the global giants like McDonald's and Taco Bell, is now available in India. Is it a sign of a lifestyle shift? Possibly yes. But to be entirely honest, I'm still quite skeptical about it as far as restaurants are concerned, or at least as far as our restaurants are concerned. For starters, it's not exactly cheap, so putting the product on restaurant menus can be tricky. I also believe that the product can get better and there needs to be more education around it. But one thing is for sure, the dialogue around plant-based meats has indeed started. And my guests today are at the forefront of the movement in India. Oh, and it's Valentine's week, and so it's no coincidence that I have one of the most entertaining couples and business partners on the show today. We'll go in for a short break and be right back.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. We're so excited to bring you our next podcast by our favorite Tamil storyteller, Kavita Jiva. Venvalseni is the story of how the Tamil kings and kingdoms united to keep South India independent of Ashoka's rule. On The Habit Coach, Ashton speaks to psychiatrist and podcaster Dr. Fred Moss. They discuss ways to deal with discomfort and boredom. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita give us key highlights from the 2022 budget and discuss the success of audioware company Boat. On The Longest Constitution, Priya takes a look at how courts interpret cases of color blindness and maternity relief at the workplace. On Press Decode, Sarah Vagda and Prafula talk about China's media censorship and Bharat Pay's infamous co-founder Ashneer Grover. And on Pulyabazi, the hosts discuss how much the government spends on defense in their special series Ek Sawal Kahi Jawab. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our others for that matter, please do tell a friend. Don't forget to rate us on any other platforms that you're listening to us, whether it's a rating, whether it's a review, it all helps. And do remember to check us out on YouTube. We have a number of channels. They're available on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, I would like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
So hi, Genelia Riteish. Welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining me today. So first off, congratulations. I believe you have just completed 10 years of wedded bliss earlier this month. So congratulations. What did you guys do to celebrate?
Thank you so much, Gauri.
What did you guys do to celebrate the big milestone?
We were actually working that day. So we were,
we had a zillion plans, but then shooting took the better of us. And because it's also our film under our banner, so it was like, okay, we'll do this some other time.
But today is us being together, 20 years.
What? Are you
today? 20
Yeah.
Wow, I'm flattered that you're spending it with me. But no, listen, it's like all married couples are 10 years, so it's perfectly normal to be working on your anniversary. But listen, I wanna kind of get to the serious stuff. I know both of you have. I want to sort of talk about your journey with Imagine and sort of everything you've been up to before that. And I love that you're both wearing your t-shirts. So, I know you've both given up eating meat a few years ago, and you're both from hardcore sort of carnivore backgrounds with, you being Maharashtrian and you being the Mangalorean Catholic. So how on earth did that happen?
No, so you're absolutely right that both of us come from backgrounds where we ate non-vegetarian for generations. And, I was born in a family that enjoyed their meat. And it used to be a Sunday ritual where there used to be chicken and mutton. Then that Sunday turned into the weekend plan when we started, growing up a bit. So it became Saturday, Sunday. And then eventually it turned into a 6-day affair where one day on Monday you didn't eat because, it was just a
Give your
religious
stomach a rest.
days you don't eat. Not even that.
Oh.
There was a time when they would wait till 12 o'clock in the night to eat more.
As in just for spiritual reasons.
It was this religious thing that on Mondays you don't eat chicken or mutton at home. But eventually, I remember out of the 14 meals, the main meals of your week, 12 meals were non-vegetarian.
And only non-veg for Riteish. It was like no vegetable. Like if they put vegetable by mistake, he would be like, please take it out. Please take it out.
So from there to become vegetarian 5 years ago to becoming, vegan 2.5 years ago has been a long journey, but an extremely satisfying journey where today I feel, oh God, what was I doing all these years? And at various levels, it's not only great for the planet, it's not only ethically correct thing to do, it's not only good for the animals, but it's good for you, it's good for your body. And that is something that I learned on the way. And I'm so glad that, like they say, better late than never. So
sure.
Here we are.
Of course, the starting point is usually selfish, where you want to do it for yourself and, your own health. But Genelia, what about you? I'm sure you grew up in a completely non-vegetarian
I keep saying
diet.
We were like, there's anything known as pure non-vegetarians. We were all that and more. It was only about eating fish and chicken. And since I come from a Catholic family, the Sarpatels and the Vindalus and all of that was part of was how I grew up, and I didn't know any other way. I mean, that was it. I didn't know that a plate could consist of anything other than a non-vegetarian food. But I think, like you said, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, we did give up. Riteish gave up non-veg first, and I followed.
Oh.
And when we did it, it was for very selfish reasons. Actually, it was just one of those mannats, so to speak, that you want to give up something that's the closest to you. And we did that. And when I first gave up, I remember feeling that, oh my God, now veg food means only peas and potatoes. Potatoes and paneer. That's all I knew in veg food. Because, like, even if there were vegetarian friends who would come home, that would be what I would serve. Vegetarian, paneer was a delicacy according to me. And but in that process, I said, no, I can't be doing only this or, just cheese. And that was just my life. Like, we were just trying to get acclimatized, and we craved our meat and we missed it. But we were still eating eggs and milk, milk products during that point in time. But I think that process taught me a lot. Like, I started experimenting a lot with flavors. I started experimenting a lot with vegetables. And then I just felt that our stomachs were lighter. We felt better. We still craved that, chicken here and there. Not so much me. I was a very, very happy vegetarian when I made the shift. But I think Riteish really craved it, at bits and pieces. So we were back in America. When we came back was the time that we even gave up dairy products. This lockdown, actually. So That's been quite a shift. But having said that, I think we found so many alternatives now that as a lifestyle, we don't crave the non-vegetarian part or the dairy part or the eggs anymore. And I think what made it even more easier was when the kids, became vegan as well. Initially, I was stressed.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, it's just that health-wise, we started feeling a zillion times better, So
was it something that they kind of chose to do alongside you all, or were you just sort of, kind of urging them to wean off meat?
So both my children have had chicken before, they've eaten chicken before. But my son, when we came back from America, one of the things he said was that, you love a dog and you're eating a chicken. So I think that just put things into perspective for me, that you can't, love one animal and then, kill another animal. For me, because I was always a guilty animal lover, I would say. Like, I would be like, but I can't give up my meat. That used to be my line.
That's really interesting, actually, because, you sort of, for adults, it could be like for nutritional reasons and, wanting to like lose weight or be healthier or whatever.
Yeah.
And for kids, it's a completely different thought process.
It's a
I mean, I didn't even think about that.
Game. Yeah, and I think the way they are brought up is like, I think we took a lot of things for granted, like, at various levels. Like, it didn't bother me when I was younger to see, chickens pass by in those little small coops that they are. It didn't bother me like then, but for them, it would bother them. It'd be like, how can they keep chickens like this? They should be on a farm. They should be open. And because Riteish comes from a farming family. In any ways, we have we see our chickens are just on the farm. They're just running from one place to the other. So they've seen all of that. But having said that, it was a choice that as a family we took. I mean, I felt that I couldn't be telling children that this is happy meat. You can't be just enjoying your meat without having. I mean, as a family, it was just something. But I mean, eventually it's their choice. We'd hope that they would follow, a lifestyle that we've set up for them. But who knows?
Fair. Look, turning vegan as a conscious lifestyle choice is one thing, but launching a plant-based business because of your beliefs is an entirely different thing altogether.
Yes.
So how did Imagine go from being in your imagination into a reality? And, why did you decide to take this punt?
So when we quit non-vegetarian and turned vegetarians, I missed my meat. I loved my non-vegetarian. I really missed the taste of meat. And I used to crave the chicken, mutton. And 1.5 years down the line, it started getting to me that, I wish, I had my fix, how they call it. Like, I just needed one bite and I'll be fine. But we were in America. We tasted one plant-based meat product. Genelia got the burgers home. She minced it. And she put her own masala and made it into like keema pao. And there I was after 1.5 years having the most yummiest keema pao ever. And I was like, wow, if I get this, I'm done. I don't need to go back to eating meat, because what is meat? Why do you eat meat? You eat meat because you like the taste of it. You like the smell of it. You like the way it makes you feel. You like the bite, the texture of it. If all these sensory aspects and all the questions that your mind asks are answered by a product, you don't eat meat because someone enjoys killing an animal,
Sure. Absolutely.
I believe that is true for almost 99.9% of people. They eat meat because they like the taste and texture of what they eat. And that's the time I said, I wish we made this back home, because we love our burgers, but we are not a burger eating nation. Or a nugget eating nation. We love our kebabs, and we love our sikh kebabs and chicken tikka and biryanis.
Absolutely.
So I wish someone made this back home so that, I could be a happy vegetarian. And Genelia said, he said, but why are you waiting for someone else to do it? I said, what do you mean? He says, why shouldn't we try it? I said, have you lost it? What do you mean we try it? We actors, we don't know anything about this. She said, yeah, but it could be interesting. Learn. Yeah, I said, let's go learn. So she started, in America, she did a nutrition course twice over at Cornell, and she studied her nutrition. Then I was doing my research online, trying to figure out, talking to people. It took us 1.5 years. Then we went to the Good Food Institute conference in San Francisco, where we were fortunate enough to meet extremely enlightening people and enlightening minds to see what they were doing. And I just thought we were at the right place at the right time. And there was not much movement in plant-based meat industry within India. So it took us 2 years to work from that day to be here with a brand that today is, we're proud to say that we are available across 70 cities and 540 stores in less than 3-4 months. And with about 11 to 13 SKUs, different products that serve you from your breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner, whatever you want. You have enough choices. It's been a long process. It's been a great partnership between me and Genelia, where I look at probably the marketing, the packaging, the design aspect of it, the distribution, and Genelia looks after what should be the nutritional value, the taste, the recipes, which chefs to work with, how do you get it right, what are the different things. So yes, it's been a long journey, But
long way to go. But
very way to go.
But are you enjoying it? Is it something that you enjoy, running a business together?
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, it has its moments of being extremely challenging, and because it was such a new market that we had undertaken, there was a lot of faith in us. Like the industry supported us a lot because they felt that at that point in time, making the right noise would help. And thankfully, a lot of people came together and were with us. But having said that, the product had to set into a market that nobody knew, over there. And like Ritesh's famous line is that if you eat meat and it's not good, you'll blame the chef. But if you eat plant-based meat and it's not good, you blame the meat, not the chef.
Of course,
So that was something.
There's a lot of skepticism around it still. And, and I want to talk to you about that a lot more because obviously as a restaurateur, I see a different perspective to the whole thing. And I sort of want to talk a bit about that. But I want to ask you one thing that, if the concern, of course, health is one part of it, but is also environmental impact. What are your thoughts on cell-based meat?
So I'll tell you one thing, primarily plant-based and cell-based has started their journey together. And I definitely feel where plant-based meats comes, it's a take on what animal protein can do to your body. That is one thing. But at the same time, when we look at cell-based meats, it's absolutely a different process. It is primarily because it takes away the burden of the entire carbon emission on the planet, the kind of water wastage that is done. And it is probably a better way to have the real meat without harming the animals, the planet, and the carbon footprint is reduced to a large extent. So yes, see, there are two ways of looking at it. Both of them, when we look at planet, exploitation, when we look at animal exploitation, these both are absolutely great for both of it. But when it comes to what animal protein can do to your health, then I would say that going plant-based is better. But at this point, health can take a step later. It's absolutely important to tackle what we are doing to our planet. And at the same time, it's important to, be kind to animals first.
Yeah. So, I'm sure you've done a lot of sort of, consumer research around this before launching the product. What has sort of some of the data that you've collected shown you about what motivates someone to eat plant-based? So I'm talking from a consumer perspective, not just your perspective, but what is the sort of research showing you as to what the reasons are that people are sort of possibly making the switch?
So when we did our research and we had the help of Good Food Institute India and, the Asia head, Varun Deshpande, was of great help to us to, get the statistics right. And probably he was absolute a guiding point also, if I say that I wouldn't be wrong. So that actually suggests that, most of the millennials, the youngsters, are conscious people, are a conscious generation. And unfortunately, we weren't. We weren't the conscious generation. We just ate because our parents ate and it felt great, and and we moved on. We thought of ourselves before we thought of environment and the planet. But the next generation doesn't do that. They want to be conscious about what they do and what their impact, and that's extremely important. Though it may be currently an urban phenomenon, but I'm sure that this will head to a larger footprint. And our research also showed us that most of these people were willing to try it. And if your taste is good, they're willing to switch. So it's important. It's not only because it's plant-based that they want to switch. No, they're saying that if you give me a good replacement that I don't miss my real meat, I'm ready to make that switch. Because yes, I care for animals. Yes, I care for planet. But I also love my meat. So there you are, So we as plant-based meat startups or manufacturers, it's extremely important that we take care in delivering
a great
the
product,
meat that makes you forget the real meat.
Yeah. No, I mean, it does come down to having a great product. But I think and now this is with my sort of restaurateur hat on, I feel that there's a long process of education that has to happen in this space before, there's a larger adoption of the product.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's not just for the consumer, but, the way, and I've actually, I've had Varun on the show. I've been on his show, which is Feeding 10 Billion. And we've talked a lot about this, as what plant-based meat, brands can be doing to penetrate the market further, not just from a sort of D2C perspective, but through restaurants, through basically multiple channels, right?
Yeah.
And as a restaurateur, I feel that I personally still, even though I'm aware of this and I've had conversations about it, I still feel that there's a big information gap. I still hear from chefs very contrasting views, and I'm not a chef at all. I can't cook. So I look at it more from just understanding consumption patterns and what the demands are. But I've heard very contradictory views from different chefs, right? So some feel like there's no way you can be getting the same level of nutrition, and it's not healthy to switch to a completely plant-based sort of lifestyle. And then I've heard the other side, not just from chefs, but like people who've actually made the switch, nutritionists who do sort of swear by it and who do. So, I feel like there's not strong enough majority viewpoint on something like this. And I mean, that's bound to happen with any subject, right? But I do think that there's too much of a split view on the nutritional aspects of plant-based meats. And I think that can be a big hurdle to a larger adoption of the product. So, what is it that you feel you can do as a brand to make it more accessible to a larger population of India? You talked about it not restricting it to an urban phenomenon, but to, a larger audience. So given the economic and cultural diversity that our country has, how do you sort of plan to penetrate that market?
Gauri, the thing about plant-based meat, and like you said, it's so contradicting. And when we were setting off to do it, I myself was in a boat where, coming from being non-vegetarian, and the reasons why you eat non-vegetarian, is largely protein, which everyone says that you don't get it in vegetarian food and stuff like that. And which could be true, but which needn't be so true also, because when you go down to studying when you go down to literally understanding each fruit that you eat, you realize that something like a banana has 1 gram of protein.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and no one really considers that because it's a banana, it can't have protein, but it does. It does have 1 gram of protein, So if you know your food better, and I think it's at the end of the day, it's about learning your food better. Like when plant-based meat, and here we're only doing the equation, the relation between meat and plant-based meat. I'm not talking about everything else that's involved in it. But when we eat meat, we're eating it primarily because you need your protein content, or the taste. The taste palette is a different thing altogether because that you can get through vegetarian food as well. But primarily when we eat protein, there was a large part
nutritional,
of us that was so influenced by the West also, where we wanted bigger bodies and, it was all that marketing that took place, a couple of years ago. And that's why meat became such a necessity. And a lot of vegetarians themselves shifted to meat because, no, I need my protein to be right, Now, that's what plant-based meat does. It gives you the same level of protein as you're eating in your meat. As a company, I would say that it gives you the exact same protein. What we do have that is slightly a step ahead is that there's no cholesterol at all in plant-based meat, So if you're eating meat, which I would say in any which ways you need to reduce it if you're looking at health reasons, then eat plant-based meat because you're getting the same level of protein and hopefully we'll match the taste as much as we can. As a company, we are working like Riteish says, this is like Imagine Meats, where it was, where they came out with the first burger and then they launched Impossible, yeah. 2.0. That's what Imagine Meats is trying every day. Like today, my next batch has a little more, which I'm putting into, trying to get the flavors a little more. And us as a company, we are not using any dairy. So benefits of using ghee, which gives you the whole greasiness and the fatness, we have to find through other ways, which we are finding. And that's immensely gratifying when you realize that nature throws so much at you. And, it's just about learning it. It's time consuming, of course, but since we've dedicated ourselves to this process, we keep working on it. But India's a gold mine. There is no way that, with our spices and with the level of plants and fruits and nuts that we have here and the textures that we have here, like soy Latur is the number one producer in soy. And now
Wow,
there's this
I did
whole
not
thing
know
about
that.
GMO and,
Yeah.
but in India, we don't have any GMO, produced. So
Produce,
these
yeah.
are things that people don't even know. I mean, it's always brought about.
But that's the point, right? That I don't think there's enough information out there about all this. And, what do you feel? Because I genuinely feel like that's one of the biggest roadblocks that's going to present itself.
Gauri, I completely agree with you. I think more advocacy is required in this sector. And I guess many more influencers, when they join on this platform, and I'm not talking about as a company, I'm just talking about it as a sector, as plant-based meat sector. It's important, and it's encouraging, and we absolutely welcome Virat and Anushka who have joined.
I was just going to say that you've clearly set a trend here, because you are getting more, and they are celebrities. They do have influence, just like you guys. And them endorsing going vegetarian has been, I was quite sort of taken aback, and especially for someone who's a sportsman. It's a huge sort of stand.
So what happens with such influencers is that they bring a lot of eyeballs, and within our own limited capacity, everyone has a certain capacity to push a certain thing ahead. Of course, we are here with our brand, they are there with what they are trying to do.
Yeah.
But eventually what you're trying to say is going plant-based meats. It's about the sector, and more people see. I remember when my dear friend, Ashish Chaudhary was there. He's an actor and an entrepreneur. And we sent him our plant-based meats, and he had it. And his driver, his chauffeur, said that, "Bhaiya, मेरी बीवी पूछ रही है कि वो रितेश भैया ने जो कंपनी शुरू की है, वो सब्जी से चिकन कैसे बनाते हैं?" So now the thing is, I never thought of it plant-based being कि सब्जी से चिकन बनाने वाला है. तो हमको भी खाना है वो सब्जी का चिकन. Now see, the idea is that at least he heard something. There was a certain curiosity generated. Maybe their questions weren't answered, but there needs to be a conversation, and that's all I'm saying. The more we talk about it, the more things are going there.
And Riteish, you gave this great anecdote of someone asking how to make chicken out of sabzi. That entire target audience is a huge potential market, right, for you guys. Don't you feel that price is going to be a big hurdle there, and that this is still a very kind of expensive product for the masses?
No, yes, you're absolutely right. We are extremely conscious of how do we get the price point lower. As a company ourselves, we have said, it's easier to try and find the textures at lower cost, but the taste is compromised. So as a product, because it is something that people will compare to actual chicken and actual mutton, the taste, sensory aspect of it. So that cannot be compromised at any level. So though we have a lot of flavoring ingredients that come within India, but we have a protein that comes from Berlin in America. And we are currently trying to get the same protein and textures made in India, but that will take some time. It's a work in progress, and the moment we are able to achieve that, then our pricing will surely come down, and we will probably have more to offer. So as a company, we're extremely conscious of the pricing, and we actually have tried to make sure that we are working on slender, decent margins. We're not trying to overprice it, keeping large margins, because you rather give that benefit to the consumer and make sure that as many people can try it and like it.
Especially when it's a completely new product that you're basically introducing to the diet and to the market, right? So, but I think that I've seen in the last sort of year, the market is getting increasingly populated with more players, and I'm sure that's going to help to accelerate the awareness, but also hopefully the price point. As there's a larger demand for these components that go into making it, right? I mean, is that do you sort of feel the same way?
No, so I just feel there are two things. Plant-based is a new sector, so I hope that government really, because it is helping startups, and government really helps in reducing import duties and certain stuff that is only required for plant-based as an industry. So that is a conversation that can start. Lowering GSTs is something that will also help. But apart from that, like you said, it's important for it being a product that is 100% made in India, and we are working towards it. Right now, it's important. See, the kind of progress that the West has done in the plant-based meat industry, unfortunately, as a country, we haven't done that. But we are here to serve the best to our capacity and capability. And that's the reason why we have gone out looking for, what can we get that can give, consumers the best of meat taste.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's the right approach, because if you don't have the buy-in on the product, then just by sort of introducing something cheap is not, it'll sort of fall flat before it's even started. And that's not going to help the sort of long-term cause in a way. But so, you mentioned sort of regulations, of course, being supportive of the industry. But did you, and I know you've been working with the Good Food Institute, but was it a challenge in getting the product sort of, getting the relevant sort of, what is it called, approvals, I guess, for the product? Like, did they, was it a challenge explaining what this
No, I know.
is?
No, thankfully, once you say it's vegetarian and it's got nothing to do with meat, then it was absolutely easy. And, government regulations are extremely kind when it comes to products like this. It's absolutely streamlined, so there wasn't any difficulty.
Yeah.
But regulation for cell-based meats is not out, and there's a lot of complications.
Yeah. It's only Singapore, right, that has it right now.
So
I think.
I don't know. People tell me that we are about 3 years away from getting any kind of regulations in developing countries like India. I hope it comes in sooner, and because that will be a game changer, I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, policy has to kind of be created and developed in parallel to the product, for it to really work. But listen, moving away from the product, I'm going to sort of talk to you with your sort of as entrepreneurs and of course as a couple. Imagine Meets isn't the first time you've worked together. You've performed together in many films too. But how is working in the movies being different from being business partners today?
No, I guess truly when you say business partnership, there are certain skill sets that we identify amongst each other, which we know that, Genelia is superior at certain things. So I will leave that to her. And, it's not about, the most important thing that we learned in our relationship is trust. And when I trust someone's judgment over something, then I don't need to think that I need to micromanage that. And similarly, vice versa, she thinks that, okay, fine, these are the aspects that Riteish understands better than me, and let him take a call on it. I'm not going to interfere. So as long as you draw the line of that, whatever recipes, whatever taste, yes, it'll come to me saying, what do you think about the taste? But I'll say, okay, slightly spicy, can we get this down? Or this is better than that. As I'll be one of the many food tasters giving my opinion to it. But at the end of it, which chef should come on board, and what kind of stuff we need to build on, that is all what Genelia does. And she studied it. It's not like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And there is no gender bias to it. It's not about, Genelia is a girl, so she should understand more about recipe. It's not that. She genuinely is great at it, so she understands that. And
well, I want to tell you, in our case, it's the opposite, because I don't understand the first thing about recipes. So it's absolutely sort of true what you're saying, that it's important to identify each other's strengths and kind of divide and conquer the work, right? On the basis of that. And I work with my husband, and it took us a long time to figure out our respective roles, and we do still occasionally tread on each other's toes. But it's so important to identify that as early as possible, and keep the professional separate from the personal. But come on, how practical is this? And are there any sort of challenges that you faced, and how have you dealt with that? I know I have, but
No,
What's it been like?
I think in business, very often it is about trusting that one person, and I don't think you trust anyone more than your spouse. Very often, the comfort level plays a negative sometimes because you do step onto each, go. You feel it's your right to go that way or this way, but
you can say what you want when you want.
Yeah, but I think if you make those rules clear enough, and if it's not your mandate, then it works. Like Riteish said, when it's recipes and when it's figuring it out, it's more me. And he won't even get into the nitty-gritties of it. Yeah, he'll give me an opinion in terms of taste, and he'll be like a zillion other tasters who have done it. Similarly, with the whole campaign, be it, Imagine Needs, be it the creative part, be it what should be out there first, that was totally him. Like, I didn't even, come up and say, no, I like this, or eventually I was an opinion at the end of the day. I wasn't the person making the decision. So I think that's, if that kind of clarity comes, and I think that comes with maturity eventually, because if you just figure that part out, then life becomes easier.
For sure.
And I think we figured that out very easy. So that's why we are partners in practically, this business. Imagine Me, we're partners in MFC, our Mumbai film company, where he's the creative person, and like even with the film that we're doing right now, which is Babe, he's the director of the film, and he's the person who decides how the film should look. I'm the person who makes the film. So it's very clearly that. So like Riteish jokes on sets and says, just tell me where I need to be and I'll be there. And I'm like, because it's easier that way. Then if you get into production and if you get into this, then it becomes much tougher. So
and I just feel that coming back to things, where do we cross paths and figure out this. So there was this one time when she asked me to taste something. I had come back from shoot, and she said, "Why don't you taste this?" And I tasted it, and she said, "What do you think?" I said, "I didn't like it." And then she told me, "But I like it." And I was like, "Oops! Now where am I supposed to go now?" Because this is something I don't like, and she likes it. So
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So now the midway is, I didn't even say, it's not bad. I said I don't like it. And she didn't even say, no, but I like it. But she said, but I love it. So now there's the recipe that she loves it, and the recipe that I don't like it. So then I'm like, look, I don't like it, but you can take a call on whether what it is. But eventually she'll figure out that what is the reason I didn't like, and she'll probably get a few more people to taste it and get their opinion, and then so that's her job. But yes, I as partners, we are there to give honest opinion, but not decide each other's roles.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. I mean, in our case, I think that trust has, as far as the business is concerned, has grown over time, where I'm very sort of strongly opinionated, but then, he's proven too many times that on certain aspects, he does turn out to be right. And then eventually I'm like, okay, that's the lawyer in me where I don't have to be convinced anymore. I sort of will leave it to you. But, I have to say, sort of stepping away from work for a minute, your Instagram reels are now legendary, and literally no one else quite does it like you guys do. It's almost like you've moved your entertainment business from the big screen to the mobile screen. Who is behind your social media strategy? I have to ask this.
Let me be absolutely candid and honest. There is no strategy.
Yeah, there's no strategy.
There is no strategy.
That's the best strategy.
There is no strategy. We wake up and we say, okay, fine, I feel like doing one reel today. I'll do something. She'll be doing something else. And it started off with me doing TikTok, and Genelia was irritated how much time I was spending. But it was something I loved.
He thrived on it. I hated it. I was doing this 24/7.
And I realized.
Well, you're a natural, so it's all working.
I realized that surely Instagram is a way to connect with people and exchange things. It obviously helps you in from the film background that we come to promote our stuff, to get connected with as many people as you can. But in between, there are people who are posing with clothes and looking great, and I find it very difficult to wear all these clothes and take pictures and say, look, this is fantastic. And I've tried and still do it. I'm not saying I don't do it, but it's not something that I enjoy,
Natural,
So it doesn't come to me, and I hate photo shoots. I don't like to pose, and that's not me. So when TikTok came, I was like, wow, let's start doing this. And then eventually, it shifted to Reels. And then I said, you should try this. We did a couple of things. And now, Genelia has her own Reels that she does. And those are amazing. I really enjoy watching them.
They are hilarious, guys. And look, I have to say it for everyone listening. So we're fellow parents in the same school. And I'm just like, how do they show up to school after doing these reels? It's hilarious. Because you're not even doing it. In the movies, it's different. You're playing a role or whatever. But here, this is actually you guys. And I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
So, please don't stop whatever you're doing because it's working and it's definitely entertaining. So, but how do you intend to use your platforms to spread the right word around plant-based meats since you have got this amazing audience watching?
So whatever we do, using our social platform or whatever little bit of equity that we've tried to build over the last 20 years, talking about plant-based diet and food. So it's also, so many times we go on sets and our co-stars, who are senior co-stars or younger co-stars, and you're like, how about, why don't you try this out? I remember I had gone on Karan Johar's set and, he was one of the first few people to taste Imagine Meats, and I went there and I had given him one bag and I gave, he was shooting with Alia at that time, and I gave her to taste some food. And I had no idea that Ranveer was shooting there that day. And he was like, "Where's my bag?" And I said, "I'm supposed to get it for you." And then I had no idea that he was vegan. So he said, "I'm vegan and I need to do this." Yeah, Ranveer Singh was vegan.
Wow.
He said, "I have to do this." And he just took the bag and went home. And I told Karan and said, so surprisingly, when I asked him what are the changes, he said, my body, I'm feeling better. I'm more pumped up with the kind of food I'm having. And someone who's as conscious as, I feel actors are the most conscious people of what they eat because it reflects on their face every time and their body. And that is the equity, right? One day in office, you can turn up looking haggard, but to show up to work as an actor, it's difficult because there's only that much makeup can do. Of course, VFX can help, but still. So
no, but I'm saying you should be using your entertainment sort of angle to somehow communicate this. I mean, I have no idea how. And
no, but yes, thank you, Gauri. I will
take that
put my thinking hat on.
No, because I have to say, even your website there's clearly your personality coming out in that, the humor, right? Exactly. So it's inbuilt, and I think that you should use this to your advantage, even when it comes to your business. And that's the end of my advice for the day.
Thank you.
But listen, any sort of last words of advice to your fans who are listening about anything?
I would just say thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us and listening to our journey about Imagine Meats and our plant-based meats journey. All we can say that, we have eaten a lot of non-vegetarian in our life and we have, been absolute carnivores. It's been a long journey and a journey of self-realization that no one has pushed on to us. We have realized by making the change within ourselves. Of course, we love our meat and the taste of our meat. And there are alternatives which can really help you, relive that taste. But be conscious human beings, be conscious towards your planet, be ethical human beings. And the ethically correct thing to do is not harm animals. We are humans who talk about equality amongst men and women. We talk about equality amongst races, colors, caste, creed, religion. But we only talk about equality about these things. We never talk about equality amongst species. And that is the right kind of conversation that needs to happen. That a chicken in the farm, a cow in the field, a tiger in the jungle, a shark or a fish in the ocean has equal right on this planet as much as we have. So respect that.
That's been really beautifully put, and lots of food for thought. No sort of pun intended. But look, before I let you go, I'm gonna leave this on a fun, light note and do a quick rapid fire round.
Oh, lovely.
So, okay, who between you pampers the kids more?
Ritesh, you? No.
She pampers them.
I don't. He does.
I pamper her.
Okay, maybe I should have asked your kids. Who's the better cook?
Better cook?
Yeah.
I always say Genelia. Kya paka diya?
Yeah, I've heard that one. Okay. Who spends more time on their phone?
I think now me.
No, I think I do. I'm like a phone addict.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think distant learning got me fully addicted to the phone.
Okay, who knows what's actually happening at school?
At school? Clueless. Mr. Clueless. Clueless.
Okay. And I think I know the answer to this one, but who is more entertaining? Actually, I don't know the answer to this one.
Ritesh, for sure.
Anyway, all I want to say is you're both
I have
doing
entertained
something.
Genelia throughout my relationship to stick around. I say one more year because you're not going to get so much entertainment elsewhere.
Free entertainment, guys. Free entertainment for life. Listen, you guys both are incredibly entertaining, and I love what you do, and kudos to what you've created, and I wish you really, really all the very best, and I'm sure this is just going to go bigger and better in time to come. So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Gauri. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for having us and having such a warm chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you tried any plant-based meat products? What did you think? Do you want to see more of these kind of products in restaurants? I would love to hear more about your thoughts. So do write into me on Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere you can find me. I hope you enjoyed tuning in today to my conversation with Riteish and Genelia.
I hope you enjoyed tuning in today. Do catch the earlier episodes when you get a chance, and more importantly, I would love to hear from you with your thoughts on the show. You can find me on Instagram at Gauri Devidayal, or on Twitter at Gauri Details, or LinkedIn. Either way, sit back and relax, because this round is on me.
We know you love fast food,
fast fashion,
faster payment,
lightning fast internet speed.
Then why not fast information?
On Think Fast, where we discuss the latest developments in the world of technology, business, marketing, pop culture.
With a side of sarcasm and my dad jokes, not just mine.
Not mine, Varun. My jokes are funny. So join me, guys, the funnier one, Suchita Salvan, co-founder of LBB.
And me, Varun Dugirala, the co-founder of The Glitch, as we think fast only on the IVM network.
Fresh episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Love fighting?
We've got you covered.
Check out our show, The Fighting Goat, where we, the voices of the internet, Arjun Chipalkatti and Somesh Kamra, bring to you crazy weekly action on your favorite combat show, The Fighting Goat.
Be it commentary, breakdown, predictions, analysis of styles and techniques.
And of course, your round of favorite fighters.
You can listen to us every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, and all major podcast streaming platforms.